Yeah, what it is I need a shortcut that'll turn everything on. All right, hold on. Last one. All three recordings are started. Oh boy. Well, we won't lose the recording today. So, all right.
Famous last words, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what's going on today, Cam?
Not much. I got a metric ton of sleep last night, and it's like really overcast and dreary out. So I kind of want to go back to bed after this. But so I'm rested and relaxed. How are you?
Oh, well, it is wet outside here, that's for sure. But I had metal put in my mouth this week.
Okay.
Yep.
Care to
Um,
elaborate?
so a few months ago, I had a tooth extracted right in the front, and um, and at the time they put in the bone graft and everything for an implant. Well, I had the implant itself put in last Wednesday, and I will get my crown the first part of next year. It's got to take 3 months to heal before I can have the crown put in. So
That is a lengthy
it,
procedure.
it's at minimum 6 months from beginning to end. So
Wow.
yeah, but
Well,
it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had these images in my head because basically they're, if you've done construction before, you pre-drill your hole and then you put the screw in. Like that's about as simple as it is. But they're doing that in your mouth. So it's like,
that's
yeah. So,
that sounds painful.
well, I didn't feel a thing, and it started to ache and hurt a little bit as the Novocaine and everything was wearing off. But even that wasn't terrible. And I would say this was 10 o'clock in the morning that I went in for the appointment. And by about 5 or 6 o'clock that evening, the pain was down to probably a 1 out of 10. Like it really wasn't that bad. And it never really peaked over maybe like a 4 or 5. So it was just pressure. Like your mouth it's not used to having that in there. So it was just a
Yeah.
little bit of pressure, and it was more the gums and the skin around it that was kind of inflamed and sore. So,
All
but
right. Well,
I won't get into more detail than
I was going to say, it's been a great podcast. We'll talk to you
that.
next time.
Maybe we should have prepped the audience for that one. But all right. Yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you this morning.
Mhm. I appreciate that.
So something that you shared with me recently is you updated to Logos 10, or
I
you
did.
bought Logos 10.
I went from no Logos to Logos 10.
A whole
So
lot of Logos.
a whole lot. Yeah.
So those of you who may be new to the show or haven't caught our discussions on Logos, it is a Bible studying software that I've used for years. And when we were talking here on the last episode, which was 3 weeks ago now,
Mm-hmm.
um, we Cam was interested in trying it, and maybe about a week later, you sent me the an image of the receipt that you had purchased it, and you were downloading it, and you were excited until you realized that the feature that you wanted, you had to upgrade the package to get. but
Yeah.
but man, was it worth it?
Yeah. So I initially got the silver package, um, which was great. Okay, cool, done, got it. Trying to figure out, okay, how do I add my physical library to my Logos digital library? Because there's this new feature you can scan the ISBN barcode, and it will add if that book is also in Logos's digital library. It will let Logos know that you have a physical copy of the book. So in your study, if you're doing a study on a certain verse, and you have a physical copy of a commentary that you've scanned in the Logos, you can, do your research and say, oh, on page 247 of this commentary that you have a physical copy of, that's where it talks about this. So it helps you better search and better use your physical library by telling you all the places in all of your books where a certain word or person or concept is mentioned, which was great until I realized, as Mitch said, that's not included in the silver package, which I was not happy about because I was under the impression that it was in all the packages based on what I had watched. And I was mad because I just spent a lot of money. And then I looked at what it would take to upgrade to gold, and it was a lot more money. And so I was very sad. And then Mitch was like, "Oh, but you can just upgrade the feature set. You don't have to upgrade the library as well." And I was like, come what? Or come again? Say what? And I looked, and it was still money, but much, much, much less money to just upgrade the feature set. So long story short, I can now scan my books.
Yeah, it was about a $300 difference, if my memory serves, between upgrading to the gold package and just upgrading to the full feature set.
Yeah, so it was a lot less money, which is always a win.
Yeah,
and I have one row of books that I'm doing after the show, and I will have all of my books, all of my many books, because I have a problem, will be added to Logos, and I'm happy about it.
Most of the Bible teachers and pastors that I know have way too many books, so maybe too many is not the right way to put it, but a lot.
I think it's a character flaw that possess that it just goes with the territory.
Yeah. So anything that stands out to you that you're really digging right now in Logos?
Well, so one thing that I've never been good at is sticking with like reading plans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I start with like, wow, with all the good intentions, and then like 4 days in, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But because Logos is my study tool that I will use for preparing any, Bible studies or lessons or any teaching, the fact that I can have reading plans in my study tool and that they're one and the same has actually been a huge boost to me actually sticking with reading plans for the past 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks, whatever it's been, because I know that any notes that I take, any highlights that I make, any notes that I take are going to stay in my study tool. So if I ever teach on something that I've read in a reading plan, the notes and the highlights that I made during the reading plan will be there for me when I go to teach about it in the future. And so that is actually, it's a really simple thing, right? But having the study tool also be the one that I'm doing my daily reading in is actually helping me stick with my daily reading on a far more consistent basis, just for that simple connection. And then, Logos makes it really easy on your phone to do that. The other thing that's really helpful is they have a lot of like maps and stuff that you can use. And so when I was teaching on Acts 2 2 weeks ago, I was able to grab a map of all of the places that had people present at Pentecost when the Holy Spirit came and the disciples were speaking all the language. I was able to show the people, like, this is where Jerusalem is, but this is all around the Mediterranean, where all these people came from, what kingdoms they belonged to, what empires they belonged to, what languages they spoke. And it's like, God chose this point in time because people from all over the known world were there at one point to celebrate one festival. And so even just having that was like, oh man, great. I can just throw a map on a slide. Boom, we can talk about it. They can see it. So that's cool. There's a ton of stuff that I have yet to dive into. But like having the Book of Common Prayer in here, like today is Proper 26, and I can go into the morning and evening readings if I wanted to, so I can get a little liturgy in my life because my church doesn't do that sort of stuff. All sorts of stuff like that. But there's the studying the like individual like word studies and like some of the more advanced features that I've yet to dive into. But all good things so far for me as far as Logos goes.
Yeah, and I've been using it for years, and I have to admit that there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't use, and or it just takes time to learn how to work it into your workflow. Because, like I was saying on the last episode, there is like 3 different ways to look at the Greek when you're looking at something in the New Testament. So it's kind of narrowing down, like, what do I want to accomplish, and how do I go about doing that? Because I can just mouse over the the word, and it'll tell me at the bottom what the tense of the word is. It'll show me the what the word is in the Greek, or you can pull up the interlinear and see how it lays out with the rest of the text in the interlinear, or you can pull up a Bible word study. And there's just a lot of different ways to do that one task depending on how deep you want to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's like I haven't really checked out the fact book a whole lot, and there's like guides and workflows, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, like I haven't touched the Canvas thing that you talked about. I really want to.
The workflows are fun. You can create your own now in there. And so you can build a workflow to, like, I wanted to do one based on, I forget what the study was, or it's a soap study, style. And that's just going through like step by step through the passage, writing it out, and then studying, looking for keywords, just going through step by step. And I built out a whole workflow for that, so that it would bring in the text. It would bring in like the important words in the text, so I could look at it. So it did a lot of the work for me, but then I could go through and study it without having to do all the extra work that goes into that kind of study. So it was really good. And there's some good workflows in there already, so some pre-made ones.
Yeah, I just need to spend more time with it. And I'm teaching Bible study next Sunday, so I will be spending more time in it this week as I finalize my outline. So
I'm learning there is a couple, you can class applications or programs if you're coming from the Windows side. There are like applications or apps that you can run that do like a handful of really good things and serve their purpose for what they are. And then there's programs like, or apps like Obsidian. I think you could class Scrivener in for this. Logos definitely falls into this category that are almost like they're an operating system inside of an operating system. They're so complex and they've got so much that you can do with them that, and you can continually expand it depending on what what the app is. Obviously, Scrivener really doesn't have a lot of expansion to it, but they're apps that are designed for a very specific purpose. But because they're so packed with stuff, like and not hard to use, but just they're so packed with good stuff. It's like you think to yourself, I find this a lot with the Mac, where you're like, well, I really would like to do it this way. Let me try something, and it's like, oh, it does it that way, and of course I get my little delight. But Logos can be like that sometimes too. It's like, oh, I really want to do this thing. Let me see if I can do it. And so you go in and you look, and usually there's something close. It may not be exactly the way you think it should be, the way it's not done exactly the way you think it should be, but it definitely is set up in a way that you can accomplish what you're looking to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the operating system, like unto itself. Yeah, very accurate way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Well, very cool, man. Well, today we wanted to talk about macOS Ventura. All right. Well, you've been using Logos for a little. I'm not Logos. macOS Ventura for a little bit. What are your initial impressions of that?
I really like Stage Manager, and I wish it worked on a stinking iPad.
I've been digging it. There's some quirky things about it, but Stage Manager I think is a really interesting way to deal with apps. Like right now, I have one stage that's all the stuff that I need for doing the podcast, and that's what I'm looking at right now. So I've got you on one side of my screen. I've got Safari and Numbers on the other side, because we have our show doc in Numbers. But then along the side, I've got some stuff from my my class the other night that I had set up. I have one of the 3 ways I'm recording today is shoved off into Stage Manager, and a couple other things. So I've actually got 4 stages off to the side, or 4 piles off to the side, and then on stage right now is my podcast stuff. So I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's the continuity camera thing's pretty cool too. I messed it up. So
Mhm.
I have Ventura on my work machine, which is an M1 MacBook Pro. I have yet to put it on my personal machine, which is an M1 MacBook Air. Um, because I have audio things on the air and I need to make sure everything's cool. And my work machine, runs really basic stuff. So I have the way I have it set up is I have one stage that's got Teams and Outlook in it. So my two communication apps. Then I've got one that has Safari in it, one that has Notion in it, because that's where I keep all my work notes and project notes and stuff like that. And then one that has things. So I can just easily switch between, you know, what I'm doing and still see things off to the side and only have one space, which is great. So I'm not, I had like spaces for all that stuff, and I had like 4 or 5 throughout the day, depending on what I had open. Um, which I appreciate in the sense that it gave me the most screen real estate possible, but also it's annoying. It's better to have piles or stacks, or I know is the technical is the accurate term pile, because that's unfortunate.
That is the accurate term. And if you listen not to this last week's Connected, but the week before that, you'll get Mike Hurley's take on the word piles, which was hilarious. So
Yeah, well, it means something else in British English,
that it
so
does.
we'll just leave it at that.
Well, we will.
But yeah, but the continuity camera is fun. I want to mess with some of my coworkers with it, but I haven't had the right. This week was a pretty tense week. A lot of stuff at work was just kind of like hectic, so I got to wait till things are a little more chill before I start messing with them with the camera. It'd just be fun to like be at my desk and then have my camera where it usually is, and then all of a sudden like walk across the room and like yeah, like Mitch is slowly zooming in on his face right now. Yeah,
With,
using the center stage feature, all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, and
I
I
just gotta.
don't hate the center stage feature, but it uses the ultra wide camera on your iPhone, so the quality of the image goes down. So
Yeah, and you can only use the back cameras, right?
correct. Well, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, so I mean, those are the two main features, right? That are like OS specific, that aren't like updates to Safari or updates to messages or whatever that you get across the board.
Hmm.
That at least that I remember, and two stand out to me as nice new features to have.
And they've got I was just cycling through them, but they've got like the portrait where it blurs the background.
Uh-huh.
They got studio light, so it like darkens everything around you. And they have desk view too, which for me, where the way I have it mounted is really useless. I don't know if I can show you this, but literally you can see my belly and my hands. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not.
No, it just zoomed in on your face is all it did. Oh, I forgot about desk view. I completely forgot about that.
I think, it would work okay on a laptop where you can push the laptop back on the desk and
Uh-huh.
have space in front of it. But I've got it mounted like 2.5 feet off my desk on top of my iMac, which is on top of a stand on my desk. So it's way up there, and it ends up just showing my belly and my hands, and nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, let's just keep the podcast rolling right along.
Before we like totally move away from Stage Manager, there was one feature request I have for Stage
Oh,
Manager, and that
yes.
is being able to pin windows to your desktop. So here's what I mean. So right now, you and I are recording, and we're on Zoom,
Mhm.
and I would like to pin Zoom to the desktop, and then everything that's in Stage Manager be able to pull Stage Manager stuff in without ever losing the Zoom window. As it is right now, when I move off to another stage, the Zoom window goes with it. And I would like to be able to pin things to the desktop so that I don't lose them.
Gotcha. You know what I would like, and me and Mike agree on this from Connected.
Mm-hmm.
It is so annoying that if I have window open and I just want to open Finder to get to another document, it opens Finder in a new stage. No,
Mm-hmm.
just open Finder here.
Yeah.
Give me the option. When I open a new program, open it in a new stage or open it in the one I'm in and let that be a toggle.
Mm-hmm.
Just that's so dumb.
Even if it's like a control click or a command click to do it, control click.
Something. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
let me have the option to open it in the stage I'm in or in a new one or in the background like I can with tabs in Safari.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the fact that by default it hides all your all your icons on the desktop?
I don't really have any icons on my desktop, so I didn't even notice.
So I have a handful of icons on my desktop, and I just keep like my current files on there because with Dropbox, I can go in and actually grab stuff off my desktop, or I can save stuff to the desktop, and then it's there when I want to go look for it later. So it just makes it a little bit easier for me to manage active files and stuff like that I'm working on. But I only get it if I click on the desktop, and I can toggle it off by clicking again on the desktop. So I kind of like it, but in most cases it is an extra step to go to that. But there is a toggle to turn that off. So in the one place where I did run into an issue is I had downloaded some images that I wanted to use in a Pixelmator project that I was working on. And what I would have done is grabbed off the desktop and just dragged and dropped it into Pixelmator. But the minute I click on the desktop, Pixelmator shoots off into a pile in Stage Manager and brings up the desktop. So now I don't have the two things together. I can't see Pixelmator anymore to drag it and drop it in there. And you would think, well, if that's going to be the case, then I'm just going to grab this image and drag it over to the pile where Pixelmator just went to. Well, it doesn't work there either, because you would think that it would pop open Pixelmator because it's what I want to use. It's what I'm trying to evoke. And it didn't work. So I ended up having to just copy and paste them into Pixelmator and do it that way. So,
which is hysterical because copy and paste is like some of the oldest tech ever that drag and drop was supposed to replace. But
yeah, it still works though, so it's good. So as we were talking about, we talked about continuity camera. I think that was one of the other big things. Have you been in the new system settings yet?
Yeah, it's I think it's hysterical that you can't make it wider. Like you're just not allowed. Like no.
Yeah, it's
set pixel width, and you will deal with it.
It's like this little tiny thing on on this huge screen, and I can't make it bigger.
Especially when you're in Stage Manager too. Like it's just floating there.
Yeah, and again, like I just opened it, and all of my podcast windows moved off into a pile. So I should be able to pull that out.
I mean,
there we go.
I'm glad that it got some attention, but I'm not glad at the type of attention it got, if that makes sense.
I don't hate the way it looks.
I still think it's I will literally say half the time I go in there, I don't know where the thing I want to find is.
Well, I think that was kind of the case before too. I don't think they really.
No. It's always been the case. So what I'm saying is the attention that I wish it had gotten was a better structuring or architecture of where things are and how you find them, not just a fresh coat of paint.
I hope that's coming in a future update.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like the fixed width thing, whatever. But like things are still not any easier to find. That's my one complaint with system preferences is that, and it's a different name on Mac than it is on iOS. Even though they're the same icon and they do the same thing. Why is one settings and one system? Like, why can't they have the same name?
Well, it should
Because
be.
half the time I invoke Raycast to open it, I type in settings. Like, oh no, it's called something different. It's so dumb.
Well, at least now it's system settings instead of system preferences. So
Oh, did they change the name?
Yeah. But I
Okay,
wish they would
well.
have just had it called settings instead of having to be system settings. So that's a minor nitpick in my opinion, but it is what it is. Preferences definitely was a bigger differentiation between the two.
Yeah, now at least if I type in set, it'll show up.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean that's better than nothing. But
Yeah.
I wish things. I honestly, I just type in the search bar whenever I go there because I'm tired of trying to find where the thing I want is.
I think that's generally what most people are doing, or a lot of people that I've heard talk about this. That's what they're doing. So I'm in favor of doing it that way. So you said something about Raycast. I got rid of LaunchBar and Raycast. I was using both of them. I've been using LaunchBar since I bought my first Mac, like 12 years ago. And then just recently I tried Raycast. I like it. I don't dislike it, but I took that off my machine because I really wanted to try the new Spotlight because I like the way the new Spotlight works or it looks. And yet how do you get it to come up?
What do you mean?
If I hit Command Spacebar, which should be the thing, how you use it, it should pop up with a thing on the middle of the screen. Well, it doesn't do that.
Well, you might have to go back to your settings to reset it because when you installed LaunchBar or Raycast, did you set those to Command Space?
I did, but I went back in to change that. One of the other things that's irritating me. Let's look. It seems like Siri wants to use that command. Spotlight. Huh. So apparently there is no place to set the shortcut for Spotlight in the Siri and Spotlight settings. So let's go on a journey together. Let's figure out how we're going to do this. Where are keyboard shortcuts? Under keyboard?
I believe so.
Okay, there's keyboard shortcuts. Click on keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard. Oh, Spotlight. Ah, there it is. Okay, I think it should be working now. Let me try it. Oh, it works now. Sweet. All right, so that was my problem.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, but don't you think that they should? I would just like it if they would if they had a setting for something in like for Spotlight. It seems like the keyboard setting for Spotlight should be in the Siri and Spotlight category instead of having to go to keyboards for it. Or you know what? Our computers are smart. We should be able to have a checkbox in both of those locations, and they be consistent with one another. Just makes sense to me, I guess.
Agreed.
Craziness. So anyway, no, I haven't used the new Spotlight a whole lot. It was annoying me a little bit that I had to. I thought I had to use Siri to do Spotlight, but they changed the shortcut on that. It used to be, I think, you held down the FN key or something like that to bring up Siri. Now you just hold down Command Spacebar, and it pulls Siri up. So that's how I shut off my Mac when I put it to sleep. Because it makes me
tell Siri to shut it down.
I do. I say, hey, lady in the tube. Well, she's not really the lady in the tube, but hey, computer. What would I usually say? Go to sleep or put my iMac to sleep. And the screen blinks off and I walk out of my studio.
You should have it be like initiate shutdown protocols.
I'm afraid of what that might do.
Some annoying countdown.
Yeah.
10, 9, 8.
We're all going to die. So because you don't have Ventura on the computer you're using there, we couldn't try Safari shared tab groups this week, but maybe next week or next time we record. But I thought that would be a lot of fun because I could throw a bunch of, for the show, we could throw all of our tabs in and things we want to talk about, and then we could follow along with each other and have, not have to be like, oh, here's the link for this. You could just have it open already. So we'll see how that works in the future. But yeah,
to be determined.
To be continued. A lot of the same messages stuff that was in iOS and Mac OS, or I'm sorry, iPad OS. Being able to, edit messages, delete messages. Have you had any experience with that yet?
I have actually been able to unsend a message so that I could fix some typos that autocorrect got me on and then send back, which I was like, oh, that is a lovely feature.
Yeah, I use a lot of the swipe typing when I'm texting my wife. And for some reason, when I swipe for just is, it puts odds, AODDS in instead of is. And I don't know why, but just weird. So I have to go in there every once in a while and edit that. And I've edited that a few times. And then the other day, it happened to me again. So I went in and I just typed, did it the old way we used to do it, is just send another message with the correct word in it. So, and you'd make the deduction which word was wrong and whatever. But then I was like, oh wait, I can edit that. So I went and edited the message, and then I unsent the second message that corrected the first message, and like, that's pretty sweet. And the animation is cute when you unsend a message, because it just kind of like shreds into a bunch of little pieces and disappears. So that's fun.
A little piece of whimsy. Why not?
Yep. Apple's good at that. That's one thing that I really appreciate about Apple's design.
They don't overdo it, though, which is nice.
Right. I don't think we really have anything to say about shared photo library yet. I sent something to my wife a while back, and we haven't been able to do anything with it. So, and quite honestly, I'm a little bit scared of having a shared photo library, because I think you can still look at your own personal stuff, but I had an opportunity recently because I was trying to find a picture for her on her phone, and I have an opportunity to look at all the pictures that she has on her phone. I don't want any of those pictures on my phone. I don't need them. It's got a bunch of pictures of kids that she babysits and different things like that, and I'm just like, I gain no value from that. So there's like 2 pictures of me. I've scrolled for a long time. There was like 2 pictures of me in there. But
well, you know where you stand now.
My phone has way too many pictures of me on it. So, just gonna throw that out there.
Oh boy.
I think we talked about most of the new stuff here. There's a lot of collaboration features that they
oh, you know what we haven't talked about yet?
What's that?
Freeform.
I haven't seen Freeform yet.
Is it in the beta? Maybe it's in the beta.
I think it's in the beta.
It's the 16.2 beta. Man, I got all excited. Never mind.
No, we'll talk about it when it releases for sure. But I don't think, I got off the beta tracks. So I'm off the betas. But
I'm about to install 16.2 on my phone right now.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
I thought I'd already done that, but apparently I only downloaded, did not install.
But there's some, I think some of the new collaboration features on here are interesting. You can use FaceTime and messages to collaborate on different things. They show using FaceTime gaming together, which, sure. Freeform.
Mitch, you wanna FaceTime while I play backgammon on my phone?
We could play backgammon together. Actually, I have no idea how to play it.
Oh, that's a fun game.
But I'm looking at Freeform right now, and this would be an interesting way to do show notes.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was why I was going to bring it up.
Yeah, far more visual, and I think you can like paste links into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can do images, rich links, text. Yeah, you can draw. I'm pretty sure. So could be fun.
I would love to be able to talk about passkeys, but I haven't had anything pop up that has offered passkey yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's really anything else to talk about. Looks like the clock app is available on Mac OS now.
Watch out.
Yeah. Where do you even find that?
Use Spotlight.
Man, this could be the game changer if this is cool. Here, you're right. Let's use Spotlight and see if we can find the clock. Oh, look at that. I found the clock. Anything else that we want to talk about in macOS Ventura?
No, just anytime that I hear it, I want to make Ace Ventura quotes. That's really all, but I'll save you all from that.
All right. Well, you know what we can do now. We can talk about what's delighting us. Oh, what's delighting you today, Cam?
College basketball is back. I watched the University of Michigan men's basketball team play an exhibition game last night against Ferris State, and their first official game is Monday, but it's back, and I'm excited because college basketball is just a ton of fun, and I enjoy it. So it makes me happy to think that in a mere 48 hours, I can watch them again, and it actually counts this time. And there's a lot of new kids on Michigan's team this year, so it's just exciting. There's a lot of new players to, get to know and figure out who you like and who's overrated or who's underrated, or that's the thing I like most about college sports is the turnover. You don't have the same quarterback for 18 years. Which, and kudos to those guys in the NFL that can pull that off. They're the best on the planet. I get it. But the thing to me about college sports that I enjoy is the turnover, every year is different. It's a new team. There's always, storylines that carry over, but new people to meet, new stories to hear. And they do a really good job in college athletics of highlighting the human side of the kids and the vignettes they do, during halftime or before or after the game, the interviews with the kids. I like that more than some of the stuff you get with pro stuff. So not to say I love the NBA too, but I don't know, I'm just excited and I'm rambling now. So I'm going to stop and go blue.
All right.
What's delighting you?
Well, as you were talking about that, I'm trying to open it up here on my Mac. And there we go. Now I'm signed in. So I was listening to MacBreak Weekly this last week. And Alex Lindsay, who I enjoy a lot of his stuff and a lot of the recommendations that he gives, had a recommendation that I thought was absolutely awesome. Excuse me, I gotta adjust my chair. I have an incredible sinking chair, so it just kind of likes to scoot down a little bit at a time. So I gotta adjust it every once in a while. This is an app called Moises, and what it does, it's available for the Mac. It's available online, and it is available for the iPhone and iPad. And what you do is you upload audio, a song, to the service, and then it's one that you technically should own. So it's an MP3 that you have on your drive or on your iTunes or something like that, something that you own that you have the right to upload. And it breaks it down into all the stems. So this AI goes through and figures out what's the vocal track, what's the bass track, what's the drum track, and it separates it all out into individual tracks.
Oh, Mitchell, you shouldn't have showed me this.
I told you before the show, you're going to like this one.
Oh, man.
So right now I'm on the free account, which will give you 4 tracks. So you get the vocals, the drums, and the bass split out. And then you have other, which is just everything else that's in the audio. When you pay for that, it will break it down into more tracks. It'll also give you a bunch of other features as well. But what this is cool for is if you want to sing along with the song, but you want to cut the vocals out, you can do that. If you want to learn the bass line for the song and you're having trouble hearing it, you can turn everything else down and just listen to the bass line, or bring everything up just a little bit, but have the bass line a little bit louder, those sorts of things. So you have complete control. And on top of that, you can export this and take this into Logic or Adobe Audition and mess around with it. So it's cool. So here I've got a song that I uploaded from Shane and Shane. One of my favorites of theirs. But if I want to sing along, which I won't do this on the show, I can pull the vocal down so that all you're getting is all the music. Or if we want to, we can isolate the bass. Well, I can't isolate the bass because there's not much bass there right now. Let's wait for the bass to come in. So now the bass is coming in. It didn't do a great job of pulling that up. So now we're gonna we'll bring the other music back up and in. Bring the vocals back in. So you can play around with the audio quite a bit to be able to learn a song or to like I said, create an accompaniment if you want to, those sorts of things. So I thought that was a really cool app that he talked about on the show the other day, and thought I would share it here.
Yep, signing up now for free.
Yeah. And it's not expensive either. It's like $4 a month or $40 a year for the subscription to this. So, if this is something that you're going to use a lot, certainly would be worth the extra money. It does go through, and let me bring up the product page here so I can look at this. It does the AI audio separation. It's got a smart metronome and speed changer. So you can change the speed of the music if you want to make it a little faster, a little slower. Maybe you're practicing something that's really hard and you want to slow it down a little bit.
Yep, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to slow Polyphia songs down so I can learn the guitar parts. Oh boy!
There's a pitch changer and with AI key detection. They have chord detection.
Because if you want to learn to sing a Shane and Shane song, but you can't sing as high as they do, you can drop it 2 steps and then sing along. That's cool.
Which is a problem for me. So There's chord detection, so if you want to play along with the song, it shows you the chords as the song's playing. So it's very cool.
I like it.
So that's Moises. I will put that in the show notes for those of you listening if you want to check that out. Even if you just sign up for the free account and you play around with it a little bit here and there, I think it's still worth free. So, and there are features in here like the smart metronome, the chord detection that it will give you a little bit, but then it cuts it off at some point, and then you would need to subscribe to the app to get the full feature. So, cool.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, this is it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I feel like you're already playing with it.
Not yet, but
right.
I just real time follow up.
Yeah.
I did the 16.2 update and it put Freeform on my home screen. So
oh, right on. Cool.
I don't want it on my home screen. Have I shown you my new iPhone setup, Mitch?
No, you have not.
Okay, this is my home screen. No apps and just one folder in the dock.
Yeah.
I have so the folder is called Essentials, and it's just it's what 18 apps, 9 in each. And I have I went through all my notifications and like pretty much turned everything off outside of like phone calls and text messages. And then I also did the same with my email. I went through and unsubscribed from like 95% of the crap I was getting. It is so nice.
Yeah.
I took off a lot of the content consumption apps off my phone too. I have the one I still have on here that I would consider content consumption, right? It would be Instagram. But like other than that, like I don't have YouTube on here. I even took The Athletic off. So I'm using my phone. I'm trying to use my phone much less.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it's just I love the background, like those ferns. And it just fades to black. It's just pretty. And it looks on the lock screen too. The black really helps with the clock and
yeah.
It makes me happy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's delighting me too.
Yeah. I've been using the weather lock screen. So it's been kind of fun. And I've got a orange gradient set up for my work focus. So then I have what's nice about that is then I have the Todoist task edit widget on the home screen, so that if I'm getting a walk at work, I can go through and just hit that and add my to-dos real quick. So I don't have to go through the lock screen, don't have to open an app. I don't have to, I can just hit that button and jump. She throws me right into Todoist with the task open, ready to be edited. So that works out really nice. I like that. So
very good.
I started using drafts a little bit again recently too. I found myself with the biblical study or the biblical counseling study that I've been doing and a few other things, just having things pop up that it's like I want to write that down somewhere, but my system wasn't really developed well enough to say, I want to put this here or I want to put this there, and to me, for stuff like that, Obsidian is what I would like to throw it into, but do you keep a file with that information on it? Do you add it to your dashboard? Like, where do you put it? With drafts, I just pop open drafts, type it in, close drafts, and I'm done. And I can worry about what I'm going to do with that later. So it's just a good place a good little inbox to just throw your text into and deal with it when you've got time to deal with it. So
Yeah, drafts is one of those that's been around forever, and I've
Hmm.
tried it on multiple occasions. It's just never clicked for me, and I've
Yeah.
wanted it to, but it's just never clicked for me. But I'm glad that it works for you because it's usually one of the more um, well built apps. It uses a lot of over its history. It's been an early adopter of a lot of the new technologies in iOS. So I wanted it to work for me. It just doesn't. I'm glad that you found it again and that it works
Yeah.
because it seems like an incredibly helpful app if you can find a way to use it.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, maybe back in the day, if somebody carried a little notebook with them to just jot down a note, oh,
Uh,
hey, that's something I want to remember. I'm going to jot that down. It's kind of one of those things where it's like when you don't have a place for this text to go, but you want to put it somewhere. Like I'll just hear somebody say something, I'll be like, "Ooh, that's really smart," but I don't want to forget that. So I just pop open drafts and I type it out real quick and throw my phone back in my pocket, and I'll figure out where that's going to go later. But or if I'm even going to keep it, maybe a week from now I look back on it and I'm like, actually, that wasn't that smart.
Turns out that person's an idiot.
so so maybe it's just something that you did. I just decided I didn't want to keep, and then I can get rid of it. The other thing is that one part of the biblical counseling stuff that I'm doing talks about scripture saturation. The idea of like, I don't know if you're familiar with neuroplasticity, the idea
Mhm.
that you can kind of rewrite your brain um, to refocus it on different things than what it used to be focused on. And
Mhm.
so they're finding a lot of success in treating like trauma victims and stuff like that with these types of saturations. And so in some cases they're talking like take a verse for like a week and say it out loud 100 times a day, which sounds crazy, but if you think about it, um, one of the instructors was saying, well, before I eat dinner, I will just say my verse 12 times. And that's 36 times a day right there. Anytime I eat, I will say my
Mhm.
verse 12 times. And what I've been doing is I created a widget with a widget smith where I'll put the a verse that's on my mind right now, or like something that I'm just trying to um, focus on and kind of really get to stick. I'll put that right in Widgetsmith. What's the word? The widget to so that every time I open my phone, it's like boom, it's right there, and that works really well for me to do that. I don't read it out loud or anything like that, but it works really well. But sometimes you run across a verse and it's like, man, I really want to remember that verse later. And I started using drafts for that, just copy and pasting it into drafts. And then later on, as I'm going through drafts, figuring out what I'm going to do with all these things, I just, I'll look at that and I'll read it again and, figure out where I want to save it. So it works real nice.
That is clever.
Cool.
We got a little extra in there. That's good.
That's all right. Little post show. I don't mind that at all. It's good stuff. So, well, if you are looking for more information about these two handsome men that you've been listening to for the last hour, and they don't have pictures to reference, so we're just going to go with that. Actually, there might be on our website, but you can check out innerdialogue.show. Our back catalog is there. And one thing that I did want to mention is that I've been looking for a place to blog. It's not like anything super crazy or extensive or even that I'm going to post regularly or anything like that. But I'd forgotten that the service that we use for Inner Dialogue has the ability to have a blog page. So,
Oh yeah.
being that Cam and I both have access to that, I would invite you if you have anything that you want to share on there to throw that up there. I'm not looking for it to be like your magnum opus up there or anything like that. But if there's any like small little things that we want to share that we encounter throughout the week, or or we don't use it at all, whatever, it is available at innerdialogue.show. So check that out. I made that page active this morning. There's nothing up there yet, so keep your expectations low when we should be able to meet them. So, or you just won't be disappointed as much. But if you do want to find out more information about the two of us, you can check out mitchcraig.online for all of my information and socials. And Cam?
And, CamBrennan.com.
All right, CamBrennan.com. And I did finally get my URL, or my URL, my domain, pointed at my new bio site. So bio.sites, it is through, it's something that Squarespace just started I don't know if they call it Unfold or what. The app is Unfold, but you're able to create bio sites, and it's whatever it is, it's bio.site/ whatever your username is. So it's a little bit like the old About Me pages from years ago. Mm-hmm. So you can go up there, you can put all your social media stuff in there, and it'll put a link to all your social media, and then you can put website links and stuff like that, and you can play around with a lot of the features that they have. If you want extra features, they do have plans that you can purchase to get more features and more capabilities. But what I'm doing is just a very, very simple. And they're designed primarily for mobile devices, not necessarily for looking.
Turns out I have one.
You do?
I forgot I made one.
So
my link in my Instagram profile.
Yeah. So it's a really kind of a nice little quick, almost like a digital business card for you. So that's kind of how I see it. So cool. Check us out. And are we switching our recording now, or do we want to record next week?
Let me think about that. I got to look at the calendar.
Gotcha. So anyway, we are a week off just because Cam had some stuff going on last week. But it gave us both another week with macOS Ventura, and Cam a little bit more time with Logos. So I think it worked out really well for us. So very cool. Well, thank you all for listening. We do appreciate all our loyal listeners. And if you've got friends you think that would enjoy listening to the podcast, let them know about it. If you have the ability, and we don't talk about this much because we don't necessarily try to pander a whole lot, but it would be really, really helpful for us if you do enjoy the show to head up to Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to your podcasts, and give us a 5-star rating. Tell them why you love us, and we'd appreciate that. Or like for Overcast, I know you can favorite episodes, and the more favorite episodes that we get, the more attention that we get on the platform, different things like that. It would help us out a lot. We'd appreciate it. So cool.
I'm so glad you do that and not me.
I do what?
That you actually ask the people to do that, because I would be like, if you want, please. I would be awkward about it. So I'm glad that you take the initiative.
It's all those years in radio. I got lots of opportunities to pander to the audience. Man, if I had $1 for every time I read a live promo on the air or something like that, I'd be rolling in it right now. But most of those promos are free. So,
right. Well,
very good.
Tally ho.
Sir, it's been fun. Thanks again.
Indeed.
We'll see you next time.
Toodaloo.